My name is Sue Fletcher, and this is my personal testimony. I was not raised in a Christian home, but I had good parents who taught me right from wrong. My dad worked at Weirton Steel, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom. My mother had many health issues, so the whole time I was growing up, I can always remember her being sick. When I was growing up, we never had any Christians that lived around us, and if we did, they never showed their faith. My dad told me stories about my grandma. She was a Christian that used to take him to church and read him the Bible. When I was little, I don't ever remember going to church, and I don't ever remember anybody telling me about God. I did have a good life, but God was never a part of it. My mother died when she was 49 years old. I was 18, and I had just graduated from high school. Her death had a hard impact on me. I remember having regrets of not telling her things that I needed to say. And also, after her death, I did things that I knew that were not right. My dad retired from the mill, and I moved with him to Sistersville to take care of some rental properties. At that time, I had met Gary, and 4 months later, we were married, but I suggest longer dating periods. We had our ups and downs, but God knew where to put us. He moved us right next door to Mrs. King. She was a godsend, but at the time, I didn't know it. She would talk to me about God and tell me stories about her life and the faith that she had. If it hadn't have been for her, I probably would have never have learned anything about the gospel. At 21 years of age, no one ever told me about God, about salvation. If I'd have died, I'd have gone to hell, and I wouldn't have known why. Soon after, I started going to church with her and taking Jay and Amy. During revival, Pastor Brockham and Bobby Sizemore came to visit me one day, and on that day, on November 9th, 1978, I got saved. I told Mrs. King that I had gotten saved, and I thanked her for helping me to understand the Bible. I also told Gary that I had gotten saved. When you're unsaved, Satan leaves you alone, but when you become a Christian, the battles begin. I knew Gary was raised in a Christian home, and I knew he would know far more than me about living a Christian life. Even though he hadn't been in church for years, I knew that he knew right from wrong. He had no trouble telling me what to do and what not to do. He finally came to me and told me that I needed to have Pastor Brockham come to the house and talk to him. I told Pastor Brockham that Gary wanted to talk to him, and when he came into the house, on that visit, prayers were answered. After Gary was saved, we started coming to church, and we became members of the church and started serving in different ministries. After 38 years, we are still serving in that church, and God has been good to us, and He has blessed us. I have served in different parts of the church, and I've enjoyed them all. But nursery and VBS are two of the ones that I enjoy the most. It's not always been easy, but God is always faithful. And the saying is, it's not God that's moved, it's me. And there have been times in my life that I have wandered from God, but He has never left me. The verse that I think of is Matthew 6:33, that seek ye first the kingdom of God and all His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. God gives us everything we need to live the lives that we need to live. My faith over the years have had many challenges, with Gary's heart problems and other health factors, but God has been good through it all. He has never left us. He's been there with us through the whole time. My surgery that I had this past time was unexpected. It was something that I had never dreamed of. But God was with me before, during, and after the surgery. He knew all along what was going to be. I just had to put my faith in Him. I guess my stroke that I had was just another roadblock. But God has always been there for me, and He's never left my side. My life has definitely been different since my surgery and my stroke. But God has been faithful to me. Because of what He's done for me, I owe Him everything. When I think of the people that's had an impact on my life, I think of Mrs. King and all that she's done for me, and she's still a part of my life. I think of Pastor Brockham and Diane and how they've helped me grow spiritually, emotionally, and had a big part of my life. There's been other people in this church that have gone on that have impacted my life greatly. When I think of Gary's dad and the impact that he had on me, these people were a part of my spiritual growth. If not for them, I don't think I would have grown into the Christian that I am today. Through trials and tribulations, God makes us stronger than what we are. For everything that God's done for me, I think back and to the fact that everything He's done for me, I owe Him everything. God is the author and finisher of my faith. Without Him, I can do nothing.